Today we confront a topic that strikes at the core of human existence, being alone. Not merely the physical absence of others, but the deeper, more profound experience of solitude. To be alone, to truly be alone, is not an affliction but an art that we in our hyper-connected age are at risk of losing. Solitude is a concept that many of us resist, often associating it with loneliness or isolation. But solitude, in its truest sense, is not about the absence of others, it's about the presence of yourself. It is the space where you confront who you are, stripped of distractions, without the constant validation of external voices. And that confrontation, though uncomfortable, is necessary for growth. Solitude, if embraced correctly, can become your most profound teacher. When you are alone, there's no one to perform for, no societal script to follow. It's just you and your thoughts, and therein lies its power. Most people avoid this because being alone forces a reckoning. It brings to the surface all the doubts, fears, and insecurities we so often suppress. Think about it, how many of us reach for our phones, turn on the television, or fill our schedules the moment we feel the pangs of solitude. We avoid the silence because silence has a way of exposing truths we might not be ready to face. But those truths, uncomfortable as they may be, are precisely what makes solitude a teacher. It teaches you to listen not to the world, but to yourself. When the noise fades, your inner voice becomes clearer. This voice may first express doubts, anxieties, or even regrets. But as you sit with it, you begin to notice patterns. What am I truly afraid of? Why do I feel unsettled? These questions arise in solitude, and if you allow yourself the courage to explore them, you uncover answers that no one else can provide. There is a reason why many of the world's greatest thinkers, artists, and leaders sought solitude. They understood that it is within this space that clarity emerges. When you're alone, your mind is no longer reactive, it becomes reflective. You begin to see connections you missed before. You untangle the complexities of your life and start to identify what truly matters. In solitude, there's no one to impress, no competition, no external judgment. It's just you. And in that simplicity, profound realizations often take root. Let's not pretend this is an easy process. Being alone, truly alone, requires discipline. It's far easier to busy yourself with distractions than to sit in the silence of your own company. But the discipline of solitude, like any worthwhile pursuit, yields immense rewards. Consider the silence as a mirror. It reflects who you are, not who you pretend to be. It shows you both your strengths and your weaknesses, and this honesty is what drives growth. There's also a physical aspect to this practice. Solitude doesn't mean locking yourself away in a room. It might mean walking in nature without headphones, sitting quietly by a window as the world moves outside, or journaling your thoughts without the intention of sharing them. These moments allow you to be present with yourself, to observe your mind, and to find peace in your own presence. Over time, you learn that you don't need constant stimulation to feel fulfilled. You don't need an audience to validate your worth. Another lesson solitude teaches is patience. When you're alone, there's no rush to respond, no pressure to keep up with anyone. Time slows down. This slowing down allows you to reflect deeply, to let ideas simmer, and to gain perspective. Think of solitude as a fertile ground. It takes time, but it's where the seeds of creativity, insight, and resilience are planted. Perhaps the most profound aspect of solitude is that it helps you cultivate self-awareness. In the absence of others, you begin to notice your habits, your triggers, your true desires. You realize what makes you happy and what doesn't, independent of societal expectations. This self-awareness is empowering. It enables you to make decisions that align with your authentic self rather than simply following the crowd. It gives you the confidence to stand alone when necessary, knowing that your worth isn't tied to external approval. To embrace solitude as a teacher is to shift your mindset. It's not about enduring the absence of others, it's about welcoming the presence of yourself. It's about seeing aloneness not as a void to fill, but as a space to grow. In solitude, you learn to be your own companion, your own guide, your own advocate. This is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. But the more you engage with solitude, the more you realize its value. So the next time you find yourself alone, resist the urge to escape it. Don't reach for your phone or rush to fill the silence. Instead, sit with it. Ask yourself, what can I learn here? What is this moment trying to teach me? Over time, you'll find that solitude isn't something to fear, it's something to cherish. It's a gift, a sanctuary, a place where you discover the depths of who you are. And in that discovery, you gain the strength to face the world with clarity, resilience, and purpose. Loneliness and solitude are two states of being that many people confuse, but they are fundamentally different. Loneliness is a void, a yearning for connection, an ache. It stems from feeling unseen, unheard, and unvalued. It is an experience rooted in disconnection, a sense of being cut off from others and from the world around you. Solitude, on the other hand, is not a void but a fullness. It is a deliberate choice, a state of self-sufficiency, and a profound recognition of one's own completeness. To confuse loneliness with solitude is to misunderstand the transformative power that being alone can hold. Loneliness is often characterized by a desperate desire to fill the emptiness with something external, another person, a distraction, or an activity that dulls the ache. It's a state of need, where your sense of worth and well-being becomes dependent on the presence or validation of others. You feel incomplete, as though your existence only gains meaning when reflected back to you through someone else's eyes. This is why loneliness feels so painful. It's a constant reminder of perceived inadequacy and separation. Solitude, however, is the opposite. Solitude is not about what you lack, but about what you have. It's a state of being in which you recognize that you are enough. In solitude, there is no desperation, no aching need for external validation. Instead, there is peace, contentment, and a sense of self-sufficiency. Solitude allows you to detach from the noise and expectations of the world, offering you the chance to reconnect with yourself on a deeper level. To shift from loneliness to solitude requires a change in mindset, a conscious decision to view your time alone not as a punishment but as an opportunity. This is not an easy shift to make, especially in a society that often equates worth with social connection and busyness. We are conditioned to believe that being alone is something to be avoided, a sign of failure or inadequacy. But this belief is a trap, one that keeps us from discovering the profound power and joy of solitude. Solitude is where you learn to find value in your own company. It's where you develop the ability to sit with yourself without judgment, without distraction, and without the need to escape. In solitude, you're not trying to fill a void, you're exploring the richness of your inner world. You discover that you don't need someone else to complete you because you were never incomplete to begin with. This realization is both liberating and empowering. It frees you from the cycle of seeking external validation and allows you to cultivate a sense of wholeness within yourself. Loneliness often stems from a lack of connection, not just with others, but also with yourself. Many people use their relationships as a way to avoid facing their own inner struggles. They rely on others to distract them from their fears, insecurities, and unresolved emotions. But when you learn to embrace solitude, you begin to develop a deeper connection with yourself. You start to understand your own thoughts, feelings, and desires. You learn to listen to your inner voice and to trust it. This self-connection is the foundation of true fulfillment. It's important to acknowledge that there are moments when loneliness is unavoidable. As social beings, we all experience times when we long for connection, and there's no shame in that. However, it's in these moments that we have a choice. We can either wallow in the discomfort of loneliness or use it as an opportunity to practice solitude. By choosing the latter, we transform loneliness from a source of suffering into a gateway for growth. Solitude also teaches us to appreciate the connections we do have in a deeper, more meaningful way. When you learn to be content in your own company, you stop seeking relationships out of neediness or fear of being alone. Instead, you approach others from a place of wholeness. You connect not because you need them to complete you, but because you value their presence in your life. This shift creates healthier, more authentic relationships built on mutual respect and genuine connection rather than dependency. The beauty of solitude is that it creates space for introspection and creativity. When you're alone, you're free to think, to dream, to imagine without interruption. You have the time and mental clarity to pursue your passions, reflect on your goals, and explore your inner world. This is where some of the most profound insights and breakthroughs occur, not in the chaos of constant interaction, but in the quiet stillness of solitude. The distinction between loneliness and solitude lies in your perspective. Loneliness is a state of lack, while solitude is a state of abundance. It's not about being physically alone or surrounded by others, it's about your relationship with yourself. When you learn to embrace solitude, you transform your time alone into a source of strength, clarity, and fulfillment. You realize that being alone is not something to fear, but something to cherish, a sacred space where you can reconnect with your truest self. And in that space, you find not only peace, but also the freedom to live a life that is authentically and unapologetically your own. When you find yourself alone, the question arises, what will you do with this time? It's a question that strikes at the heart of how we view solitude. For many, being alone feels purposeless, as though the absence of others diminishes the value of the moment. Yet, solitude is not an empty void to endure. It is a canvas on which you can paint the most meaningful aspects of your life. The time you spend alone holds extraordinary potential if only you choose to see it as an opportunity rather than a burden. One of the greatest misunderstandings about solitude is the assumption that it is idle or unproductive. But think of solitude as fertile ground. It is the soil in which the seeds of creativity, clarity, and purpose are planted. When you're alone, free from external noise and demands, you have the space to think, to reflect honestly, and to create without restraint. Many of the world's most transformative ideas, works of art, and breakthroughs were born in solitude, not because these individuals turned away from the world, but because they used their time alone to engage with it more profoundly. Solitude offers you the chance to explore your passions and interests without the distractions or judgments of others. It's in these moments of quiet focus that you can reconnect with what truly matters to you. Perhaps you've always wanted to write, paint, or play music but never found the time. Or maybe there's a problem you've been wrestling with that requires deep, undisturbed thought. Alone, you have the freedom to dive into these pursuits without fear of interruption or external evaluation. Solitude allows you to immerse yourself fully in the process of creation and discovery, unencumbered by the need to perform or conform. But the purpose of solitude isn't limited to creative pursuits. It also plays a critical role in self-reflection. When you're alone, you have the space to ask yourself meaningful questions. Who am I? What do I value? What kind of life do I want to lead? These are questions that require time and patience to answer, and they often go unexamined in the hustle of daily life. Solitude provides the quiet needed to engage with these inquiries fully, to look inward without distraction. It is in these reflective moments that you begin to align your actions with your values and clarify the direction of your life. This alignment is not merely an abstract exercise, it has tangible consequences. When you use your time alone to reflect on your goals and priorities, you begin to make better decisions. You learn to say no to what doesn't serve you and yes to what truly matters. Solitude sharpens your focus, helping you to distinguish between what is important and what is merely urgent. It allows you to step back from the noise of everyday life and see the bigger picture. This perspective is invaluable. It is the foundation of purposeful living. Solitude teaches you how to be present with yourself. In a world that often encourages constant activity and distraction, the ability to sit quietly with your own thoughts is a radical act. It requires patience and discipline to resist the urge to fill every moment with stimulation. But this stillness is where true presence is cultivated. In solitude, you learn to appreciate the richness of the moment, to find joy and contentment in simply being. This practice of presence extends beyond your time alone, enriching your interactions with others and deepening your experience of life. There is also a restorative aspect to solitude. Time spent alone can be a sanctuary, a chance to recharge and reconnect with your inner self. Just as your body needs rest to recover, so too does your mind and spirit. Solitude provides the space for this renewal, offering you the opportunity to pause, to breathe, and to regain your sense of balance. When you emerge from this time, you do so with greater clarity, energy, and resilience. For solitude to fulfill its purpose, it must be intentional. It's not enough to be physically alone, you must engage with the moment actively. Sitting passively or numbing yourself with distractions misses the point. Instead, approach solitude with a sense of curiosity and purpose. Ask yourself, what can I create, learn, or understand in this moment? How can I use this time to grow? By treating your time alone as a gift rather than a burden, you transform it into something meaningful and fulfilling. Ultimately, the purpose you find in solitude is deeply personal. It may be a time for creation, reflection, renewal, or simply rest. It's not about achieving a specific outcome, but about engaging with yourself and your life in a way that feels authentic and nourishing. Solitude is not a void to fill, but a space to cultivate. It is a sanctuary where you can reconnect with who you are, free from the expectations and judgments of the outside world. So when you find yourself alone, resist the urge to view it as wasted or empty time. Instead, see it as an opportunity, a chance to create, to reflect, to grow. Use it as a space to explore your passions, clarify your purpose, and reconnect with your inner self. In doing so, you transform solitude from a state of isolation into a source of strength, clarity, and fulfillment. You discover that being alone is not just something you endure, it is something you embrace, a sacred time where the most profound and meaningful aspects of your life begin to take shape. Being alone has a way of revealing the shadows within us, those parts of ourselves we often avoid, suppress, or ignore. When we are surrounded by others or distracted by the endless noise of modern life, it's easy to push these aspects of ourselves into the background. But solitude removes those barriers, forcing us to confront what lies beneath. This is one of the most challenging aspects of being alone, yet it is also one of the most transformative. Solitude brings the shadows to light, and in doing so it gives us the chance to understand and grow from them. What are these shadows? They take many forms. For some, it might be unresolved guilt or regret over past actions. For others, it could be unacknowledged fears, insecurities, or feelings of inadequacy. Perhaps it's the discomfort of recognizing patterns in our lives, choices we repeatedly make that do not serve us or align with who we want to be. These shadows can be unsettling, even painful to face. But they are not your enemy. They are a part of you, and they exist for a reason. They carry messages, lessons, and opportunities for growth if you are willing to listen. When you are alone, these shadows often rise to the surface. They manifest as intrusive thoughts, a sense of unease, or even an overwhelming desire to escape the solitude itself. Many people interpret this as a sign that being alone is bad for them, that it exacerbates their anxiety or unhappiness. But this reaction stems not from the solitude itself, but from the resistance to what solitude reveals. The discomfort is a signal. It's telling you that there is something within you that needs attention, something that has been neglected or avoided. Facing these shadows requires courage. It's far easier to distract yourself, to turn on the TV, scroll through social media, or seek the company of others. But avoidance only allows the shadows to grow stronger, lingering in the background and influencing your thoughts and actions in ways you may not even realize. To face them, you must be willing to sit with the discomfort, to acknowledge what you're feeling without judgment. This is not an act of weakness, it is an act of profound strength. The process of facing your shadows begins with acceptance. Whatever emotions or thoughts arise during your time alone, allow them to exist. Resist the urge to push them away or label them as bad. Instead, approach them with curiosity. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What is this emotion trying to tell me? Often these feelings carry valuable insights about your needs, desires, and values. They may point to unresolved issues that need your attention or highlight areas of your life that are out of alignment with your true self. In this way, solitude becomes a mirror. It reflects not only your strengths and aspirations, but also your vulnerabilities and fears. This reflection is not meant to discourage you, it is meant to guide you. It shows you where you have room to grow, where healing is needed, and where you can make changes to live a more authentic and fulfilling life. There is also a transformative power in befriending your shadows. When you take the time to understand the parts of yourself that you find difficult or uncomfortable, you begin to integrate them into your whole self. You realize that these aspects of you are not flaws to be eradicated, but pieces of your humanity to be understood and embraced. This integration leads to greater self-compassion, resilience, and inner peace. The insights gained from facing your shadows are not merely personal, they ripple outward into every aspect of your life. When you confront your fears, you become less reactive to external challenges. When you acknowledge your insecurities, you build confidence rooted in self-awareness rather than superficial validation. And when you make peace with your past, you free yourself to live fully in the present. These are the gifts that solitude offers, but they require your willingness to engage with its challenges. It's also important to remember that facing your shadows is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing process, one that evolves as you grow and change. Each time you sit with yourself in solitude, you may uncover something new, a fear you hadn't recognized, a pattern you hadn't noticed, or a dream you'd forgotten. This continual exploration is what allows you to deepen your understanding of yourself and your place in the world. Solitude, then, is not simply a withdrawal from others, it is an invitation to go inward. It is a journey into the depths of your own mind and soul, a journey that can be both challenging and profoundly rewarding. By facing your shadows, you transform solitude from a place of discomfort into a sanctuary of self-discovery. You learn to embrace all parts of yourself, not just the polished, socially acceptable ones, but also the raw, unfiltered truths that make you who you are. So the next time you find yourself alone, resist the urge to distract yourself or escape the discomfort. Instead, take a deep breath and sit with it. Let the shadows come forward, welcome them, listen to them, and learn from them. In doing so, you'll find that the darkness you feared holds the key to your greatest growth, and in mastering this art, you will emerge from solitude not weaker, but stronger, more grounded, and more fully yourself than ever before. When you learn to embrace solitude, you begin to uncover its hidden strength, the ability to build resilience. Resilience is the capacity to withstand challenges, recover from setbacks, and move forward with purpose. It is the cornerstone of personal growth and success. Solitude, far from being a state of withdrawal or weakness, is a powerful tool for developing this inner strength. It is in the quiet moments alone that you cultivate the mental and emotional fortitude needed to navigate life's complexities. Resilience begins with self-awareness, and solitude is the perfect environment to develop it. In the stillness, you have the opportunity to listen to your thoughts and feelings without interference. You can assess your reactions to challenges, examine your fears, and reflect on your responses to stress. This process of introspection helps you understand yourself better. You begin to recognize patterns in your behavior, how you cope with difficulties, where you excel, and where you struggle. This awareness is the first step toward resilience because it allows you to identify areas for growth and improvement. Solitude also provides the space to confront and process your emotions. When faced with adversity, it's natural to feel overwhelmed, frustrated, or even defeated. Many people try to escape these feelings by distracting themselves or seeking external comfort, but avoidance only delays the inevitable. Solitude offers a different approach. It encourages you to face these emotions head-on. When you sit with your feelings in a quiet, undisturbed space, you give yourself the chance to understand and work through them. This process builds emotional strength and teaches you that you can handle difficult emotions without being consumed by them. Another way solitude fosters resilience is by helping you develop a sense of independence. When you are alone, you are solely responsible for your thoughts, decisions, and actions. There is no one else to rely on, and this can feel daunting at first. But over time, it becomes empowering. You learn that you are capable of solving problems, making decisions, and finding your own way. This sense of self-reliance is a critical component of resilience. It gives you the confidence to face challenges without feeling dependent on others for support or validation. In solitude, you also have the freedom to reflect on your values and priorities. When life becomes overwhelming, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. You may find yourself reacting to immediate pressures rather than acting in alignment with your long-term goals. Solitude allows you to step back, evaluate your situation, and refocus your energy on what is most important. This clarity helps you make better decisions and stay grounded during difficult times. It ensures that your actions are guided by purpose rather than panic. Resilience is not just about bouncing back from adversity, it's also about adapting and growing stronger as a result. Solitude provides the mental space needed for this growth. When you have time to think and reflect, you can analyze your experiences and extract valuable lessons from them. You can identify what went wrong, what you could have done differently, and how you can improve moving forward. This process of learning from your challenges transforms setbacks into opportunities for growth, turning obstacles into stepping stones toward a stronger, more resilient self. Moreover, solitude allows you to practice mindfulness and presence, both of which are essential for resilience. When you are mindful, you focus on the present moment rather than worrying about the past or the future. This practice helps you stay calm and centered, even in the face of adversity. Solitude is an ideal setting for cultivating mindfulness because it removes distractions and external pressures, allowing you to fully engage with your thoughts and feelings. Over time, this practice strengthens your ability to remain composed and resourceful in challenging situations. But it's also worth noting that solitude fosters creativity and problem solving, both of which are crucial for resilience. When you're alone, free from interruptions and external influences, your mind has the freedom to explore new ideas and solutions. This creative thinking can help you approach challenges from a fresh perspective and find innovative ways to overcome them. Whether it's coming up with a practical solution to a problem or reimagining your approach to a difficult situation, the insights gained during solitude can be invaluable. Finally, solitude helps you build resilience by teaching you the value of patience and perseverance. When you're alone, there's no rush to meet someone else's expectations or deadlines. You can take your time, work through challenges at your own pace, and develop the discipline needed to stay committed to your goals. This patience is a key element of resilience that allows you to persist through difficulties and maintain your focus even when progress feels slow. In solitude, you find not only a refuge but also a place where your inner strength is tested and tempered. It is in these quiet moments that you learn to trust yourself, face your fears, and grow stronger with each challenge. Solitude may not always feel comfortable, but it is undeniably transformative. It teaches you that resilience is not something you are born with, but something you build step by step through reflection, determination, and self-awareness. So when life feels overwhelming and challenges seem insurmountable, remember that solitude is not a retreat, it is a preparation. It is the time you take to gather your strength, clarify your purpose, and build the resilience needed to face whatever comes your way. In embracing solitude, you cultivate the inner fortitude to not only withstand adversity but to thrive in its wake, emerging stronger, wiser, and more capable than ever before. True self-discovery begins in solitude, for it is only when we are alone that we can strip away the layers of external expectations, societal pressures, and the roles we play for others. These layers, while often necessary in social contexts, can obscure our true essence, our core identity. To be alone is to stand before yourself without pretense, to ask, "Who am I?" when no one is watching. This question, though simple, is profoundly powerful. Its answer lies in the quiet moments of self-reflection, where the noise of the world falls away and you are left to face yourself in your purest form. Self-discovery in solitude is not an instant revelation, it is a process, one that requires patience and openness. When you are alone, you are free from the influence of others. This freedom allows you to explore your thoughts, feelings, and desires without judgment or comparison. It is in these moments that you begin to notice patterns in your thinking, uncover hidden passions, and gain clarity about what truly matters to you. These insights are the building blocks of your authentic self, a self that is not defined by the expectations or opinions of others, but by your own values and truths. One of the most significant aspects of self-discovery in solitude is learning to differentiate between who you are and who you have been conditioned to be. From a young age, we are shaped by our environment, by family, culture, education, and media. While these influences are not inherently negative, they can sometimes lead us away from our true selves. We may adopt beliefs, habits, or goals that do not genuinely resonate with us, but were imposed by external forces. Solitude provides the space to question these influences, to ask, "Is this truly me? Or is this something I've inherited in doing so?" You begin the work of peeling back the layers and reconnecting with your authentic self. Solitude also allows you to explore your values and priorities on a deeper level. In the absence of distractions, you can reflect on what brings you joy, fulfillment, and purpose. You can examine your actions and choices to see if they align with your values. For example, you may realize that while you've been pursuing success in your career, what you truly value is time spent with loved ones or engaging in creative pursuits. These realizations are not always easy. They often require you to confront uncomfortable truths about yourself or make difficult changes in your life. But they are essential for living a life that feels true to who you are. Another powerful aspect of self-discovery in solitude is learning to embrace your imperfections. When you are alone, there is no one to impress. No need to maintain a facade. You can be honest with yourself about your strengths and weaknesses, your successes and failures. This honesty is liberating. It allows you to see yourself as a whole person, not just the polished version you present to the world. In embracing your imperfections, you cultivate self-compassion and learn to love yourself for who you are, not for who you think you should be. Solitude also offers the opportunity to reconnect with your intuition. In our busy, noisy lives, it's easy to lose touch with this inner guidance system. We often rely on external advice, validation, or instructions to make decisions, ignoring the quiet voice within that knows what is best for us. When you are alone, you can tune into this voice. You can ask yourself questions and listen for the answers that come from within. This process strengthens your trust in yourself and your ability to navigate life's challenges with confidence. Importantly, self-discovery in solitude is not a one-time event, it is a lifelong journey. Who you are evolves over time, shaped by your experiences, relationships, and growth. Solitude allows you to check in with yourself regularly, to reassess your values, priorities, and goals as you change and grow. It is a practice of self-awareness and self-renewal that ensures you remain connected to your authentic self throughout your life. This journey of self-discovery also enhances your relationships with others. When you know and accept yourself, you are better equipped to form genuine connections. You no longer seek relationships out of a need to fill a void or gain validation. Instead, you approach them from a place of wholeness. You can be fully present with others because you are secure in who you are. This authenticity deepens your connections and allows you to build relationships that are based on mutual respect and understanding. Self-discovery in solitude empowers you to live a life that feels meaningful and true. When you understand who you are and what matters to you, you can make choices that align with your values and aspirations. You are no longer driven by external pressures or societal expectations. Instead, you are guided by your own inner compass. This alignment brings a sense of peace and fulfillment that cannot be found through external achievements or validation. So, solitude is not just a time of quiet, it is a time of profound self-exploration. It is a space where you can uncover your true self, embrace your imperfections, and reconnect with your intuition. In solitude, you discover not only who you are, but also who you have the potential to become. It is a journey that requires courage and patience, but it is one of the most rewarding journeys you can take. By embracing solitude and the self-discovery it offers, you open the door to a life that is not just lived, but deeply understood and fully owned. In the quiet embrace of solitude, we find an extraordinary opportunity to transform our relationship with ourselves and the world around us. Solitude is not a void to be filled, but a sanctuary to be cherished, a space where we can reflect, grow, and truly discover who we are. It invites us to face our fears, explore our passions, and cultivate resilience, all while uncovering the deeper truths that define our purpose and values. We learn to appreciate our own company and build a foundation of self-reliance and inner strength. We confront the shadows within us, finding not only the courage to face them, but also the wisdom to grow from their lessons. It is in these moments alone that we recognize our worth, separate from the noise and expectations of the world, and discover the profound power of simply being. The art of being alone is not about isolation, but about connection to ourselves, to our emotions, to our creativity, and ultimately to a more authentic and fulfilling life. When we learn to embrace solitude, we carry its lessons into every aspect of our existence, enriching our relationships, sharpening our focus, and aligning our actions with our deepest values. So let us no longer fear the silence or the stillness. Instead, let us step into it with intention, curiosity, and courage. For in solitude, we find the strength to grow, the clarity to see, and the freedom to be. And in mastering the art of being alone, we discover the profound truth that we are never truly alone when we are at peace with ourselves.